Hello, it's Dr. Craig Dingman from Elevate Chiropractic. Today, we're going to be talking about move by design. So, understanding proper movement patterns required in order to be healthy. One of the things that we understand from health is that movement is a genetic requirement for humans. There are a number of pieces of health that we need to put together. We do stress that in our office, that we take an integrated approach. So health is like a puzzle. You have to have all these pieces fitting together. You can't focus on one thing and expect to have health. Health is a multi-pronged approach. There is movement and exercise. There's nutrition. There is spiritual, mental, and emotional health, controlling your thoughts. There is a properly functioning spine and nervous system so that your brain can communicate with the cells of your body. So we have to discover how to integrate all these pieces simultaneously in order to have true health. And tonight we're going to talk about the movement patterns that are required in order for humans to be healthy. And I think you would agree that we have lots of challenges to our health in this day and age, despite the information age and everyone having access to all the health information they could possibly want. Are we getting healthier or sicker as a population? Well, clearly we're getting sicker. Heart disease is on the rise, cancer is on the rise, diabetes is on the rise, obesity is on the rise, psychological issues, depression, anxiety are on the rise. So why is it that all these disease states are on the rise despite us having virtually unlimited access to the information required to be healthy? I love this quote. It says that there is overwhelming evidence that illness and disease are from living incongruently with our genetic requirements for life. It's from the Journal of Applied Physiology. I think this is amazing. I think it's basically, in its simplest terms, this quote indicates that we are making ourselves sick by making bad choices with our lifestyle. And somewhere along the lines, something very clearly went terribly wrong. Most of human history, we've had to move and stress ourselves and physically be mobile and strong in order to survive until very recently, when the computer and the desk and the chair have caused us to become, relatively speaking, very, very sedentary, and we're paying the price in our health. I'd like to talk a bit about epigenetics. So epigenetics is the science of how your lifestyle choices affect the expression of your genes. So I think this is a really important point, and one for you to get a clear understanding of, is that the old days where we thought that we had these health challenges and they were just genetic, science is showing that that is absolutely untrue. In fact, most of our current research is suggesting that your genetics may account for only 2 to 3% of your current level and state of health. I mean, it's a heavy burden for some of us to carry, because it makes you take ownership of your health from the perspective of the choices that you've made throughout your life. You may in fact inherit a genetic predisposition towards certain things, but you are not going to experience those health challenges unless you have a poor lifestyle, or unless your lifestyle choices turn you down that road. So that may be depressing for some people. You may hang your shoulders and sigh and be, sort of down on yourself because of that, understanding that you are where you are because of the choices that you have made throughout life. But it should be encouraging and inspiring, because our bodies will adapt to whatever challenges and stressors we put them under. So if you would just change your lifestyle choices and habits and make better ones, in very short order, your body will begin to adapt and provide you with greater health. So this thing does work both ways, to the point where your health is just a fluctuating sum of your, big and small choices with respect to your health over a lifetime. And if you begin to make better choices, and that's what really we're all about teaching in our office, you will have a better genetic expression of yourself and better health and less disease. So what kinds of things do we have in our environment now that alter our genetic expression? Well, we have stressors in 3 major types: physical, chemical, and emotional. So you can clearly see how a physical trauma would be a stressor to the body. A car accident, sports injuries, falls, all those kinds of things can damage our physical health. That's pretty straightforward. The guy sitting in the chair there, you can see there's the micro trauma of postural stress over time. I mean, you spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week like that, and you go home and you spend probably hours and hours like that doing more of the same in your recreation, to the point where that is a major, major accumulated micro trauma over time that robs us of health. Chemicals in the environment, depression, anxiety, relationship stress, financial troubles, the busyness of life, all these things, that these three categories of stressors, physical, chemical, and emotional, all affect our genetic expression and reduce our health. So let's hit this point home a little more about how our genes don't control our health. So here are two identical twins. So every bit of their DNA is identical in every single way, with the exception of the expression of it. So clearly these two women have made very, very different lifestyle choices, because these are identical twin sisters, and you wouldn't even know they're sisters looking at them. They look totally different. Well, they have the same DNA, but the DNA has been expressed very, very differently, clearly based on different lifestyle choices. Otto and Ewald, these boys are also two identical twin brothers. And clearly, despite having identical genes in every way, they have made different choices. So the expression of those genetics are entirely different in these guys. So, you know, the choices you make day in, day out really do radically influence your health, far more than your genetic makeup. Absolutely. At Elevate Chiropractic, we believe that every human being is designed to be extraordinary. We truly, truly believe that. And yet, many of us look like a wilted flower. Let's take the flower analogy for a minute. Let's pause and look at this. If you had a flower in your house that looked like this, what things would come to mind that you needed to do for this flower? What is it missing? Right? It's not missing little ground up, crushed up flower baby Advil or anything like that. You wouldn't even consider that. You'd think, well, in order for a flower to express proper health, it needs sunlight, it needs water, and it needs fertilizer or food. You would do those things, and soon enough, the flower would look healthy, because what you've done is you've provided it with the environment that satisfies its genetic requirements for health expression. And humans are like that too. If your health isn't what you want, then you're not providing your body with the proper lifestyle habits for proper genetic expression of health. Correct philosophy plus congruent action over time will equal extraordinary results. And like I said, we believe everyone's designed to be extraordinary. It's just a matter of these three things. Have you thought about it enough to really prioritize your health and get the right philosophy around your health and how much you deserve it? Congruent action, those are the steps, the day-to-day, day in, day out. This is the tough slug and the things you just have to do out of discipline, just because this is what is going to allow you to be healthy. And then time would be, I would say, the biggest place where most of my patients fail. What you have to understand is that if you come to our office and you have some type of symptom, whether it's back pain or headaches or digestive issues, it doesn't matter. By the time you had a symptom that brought you to the office, that problem has been there more than the few weeks or months, almost certainly, that you've been experiencing the symptom. The problem started years, probably decades in the past. But your body adapted and responded and did everything that it could for you so that you wouldn't experience symptoms. And only when it got to its breaking point, only when your body was pushed back past its point of adaptability, did you get a symptom. And then the symptom would get worse until it ultimately would bring you to seek care. Well, understanding that, if you have a problem that had this evolution that was years or decades, it's not going away in a few weeks. Most of my patients come into the office with the hope that they can see me for a couple of checkups, a couple of weeks, and their problem will get better. Well, your symptom might go away. If you're at a traditional chiropractor and you're just working on pain relief, you might have some short-term relief of that pain within a couple of weeks. But if you want to resolve the problem, which is what we do in our office with neurostructural restoration, this corrective process that you're undergoing, it's going to take time. Your body needs to adapt and change its cell structure, its genetic expression to a more healthy state over time. And in most cases, just with the way the body works with cell turnover and healing, most tissues in the body are going to require 12 to 24 months or more in order to heal. So we usually will start you off with several months of care, but that's just the very beginning. We're just scratching the surface when you've done your first sort of 12 to 16 weeks of care. A corrective process is going to take in the matter of 12, 18 to 24 months as a minimum. So please understand that your problem has been in evolution for a long time, and it's going to take some time to heal. I love this picture here of this grizzled guy with the big pipes. So clearly, this individual has had the right philosophy with his health, and he's taken the proper action over a significant period of time. The fact that he can be his age and have a physique that any 21-year-old would kill to have means that he has invested time into the right actions. So what do our genes expect? Well, that's a good question. That's really important. They expect us to fuel them right with good nutrition. They expect us to control our thoughts and our mental, emotional stress and our spirituality. They expect that we move them in certain ways in order that the body can express health. They expect that we have a full power supply. So that's the chiropractic portion here, is your brain is your power source. And your brain is hardwired to every cell in your body through the spinal cord and nerves. And if the spine is not functioning properly, or if it's out of alignment, it's going to reduce the communication between your brain and the cells of your body. And your brain is not going to be able to tell those cells how to function right, heal right, and express their genetic health properly. So tonight we are talking about the movement aspect. Here's a slide of some guys. These are the African tribe, the Maasai tribe. These guys are obviously genetic specimens. Do you think they have an LA Fitness out in the bush where they are? And the one guy's saying to the next, hey, is it bench press day, or are we back day today? These guys wouldn't know a barbell if it hit them in the head, and yet they have these amazing physiques developed through a lifetime, starting when they were children, of intense and varied physical activity. They can run for hours and hours without failing, without fatigue. They can clearly lift very heavy things. They've got to hunt beasts and battle off lions. So just their daily life has fulfilled, to a greater degree than us, clearly, the genetic expression for health. So how do we mimic that in this day and age? This guy is, how do you mimic battling off the saber-tooth or the grizzly in a gym workout where you're paddling along on the treadmill? Well, you simply can't. So that's why we've got to talk about different strategies to try and mimic what our requirements are for movement to have healthy genetics. And the treadmill is really not one of them. Lots of people over the years have just gone to their gym and hit the treadmill for 30 minutes and the spin bike for 30 minutes, and that's a workout and that's all they do. Well, that's not nearly enough. There are way more effective and efficient strategies. We're going to talk about those tonight. They go much beyond the conventional wisdom. And I think if you understand the chronic cardio if you look at these two guys here, which physique looks way healthier? Like, which one of these guys would you rather look like? The guy on the left is a marathoner. The guy on the right is a sprinter. This marathoner can run for hours and hours and hours, but does he look healthy? Does he look like he's expressing genetics like a human should? I don't think so. Certainly the guy on the right truly does. So we do need to incorporate different movements apart from just plodding along with chronic cardio in order to be healthy. So here are two key questions to ask yourself. And the first one would be, what do our bodies expect in terms of movement and metabolic demands in order to maximize our health? So what is our genetic expectation in order for our bodies to respond in a healthy way? And what are the best strategies to fulfill those requirements? We're going to address those two tonight. So as far as movement goes, there are four main types of movement that you must incorporate into your daily and weekly routines. So the first and most important is mobility. You need to be mobile first in order to have health. You will also need to lift some heavy things to maintain your strength and your bone density. You'll have to move fast for cardiovascular health. You got to get your heart rate up and your lungs pumping. You also have to have lots and lots of slow movement, some just general activity. So let's talk about being mobile first. I think mobility is paramount. as far as maintaining your independence over time. It's really the building block in injury prevention as well. So some of us are going to have to regain what is lost. Most of you would have done with me in your initial examination the sit to stand test, but perhaps if you were injured, we didn't do it. But I think the sit to stand test is a great example of whether you have problems with your mobility. Look at these little guys. Do they look like they're in discomfort? If you were to squat like this, even for 5 or 10 seconds, you would probably not be smiling like these little guys, if you could even do it. But they could probably squat there all day and not even flinch. And you may think to yourself, well, it's because they're young, and as we get old, we get stiffer. Well, yes, generally, as we get older, we get stiffer, but it's not because we're getting older, it's because we stop working on our mobility. There are plenty of cultures in the world where over time they keep and maintain their mobility just by doing stuff in those positions all day, every day. So clearly, these are some people who are not young and yet could sit in that deep, deep squat all day without any discomfort. So it's not an age thing. It's that as we age, we choose different activities. So most of us, when school starts and we're 4 or 5 years old, we start sitting in chairs at school. And then when we work, we sit in chairs. When we work and drive our cars, we're sitting, and we neglect to work on our mobility. So as a priority to reclaim your health, we're going to talk to you lots about reclaiming your mobility. It's the primary focus of tonight. So in order to be mobile, one of the things that I think is the best strategy to maintain your mobility or reclaim your mobility is to do joint-to-joint movement. So I actually have a mobility video that I've shot, and you can just follow along with it, and it will allow you to mobilize every joint in your body from the base of your skull to the tips of your fingers, tips of your toes, and everywhere in between. Mobilize all those joints in every different plane of motion within about 4 or 5 minutes a day. And I'll share that with you. If you'd like that resource, just email me and ask me for it. I'll send you the YouTube video I have, and you can just download that and you can follow it along in the morning. So for me in the morning, I hit go on the coffee machine and we usually do my daily mobility workout. And foam rollers are great, especially for desk workers. You can get these at Canadian Tire, the Superstore, Winners, Walmart, they're everywhere. But picking up a foam roller, I also have a video that will instruct you on how to use the foam roller. If you'd like it, please request that from me. I'll send you the video. It's an instructional video on foam rolling. Especially your mid-back between your shoulders, foam rolling your thoracic spine if you're a desk worker will counteract some of that forward-reaching posture that you get from sitting at your desk all day. Understand that spinal movement is your brain's engine. So when we go camping in the summer, I have in the camp kits that just sit there all winter in storage, I don't have flashlights that require batteries. I have these hand crank flashlights. And the reason is that every year the batteries would die when the flashlights are out in the cold. So these ones, you just pop the handle out and for about 20, 30 seconds, you crank it and it provides you about 5 minutes of LED battery flashlight. They're fantastic. So it's the cranking of this handle, this movement of the handle that powers the light. Well, your brain is very much like this. Movement of the spine is actually like the hand crank that powers your brain. Which is why adjustments we see when people get adjusted, they talk about things like my memory's better, I focus better, I've got less brain fog, my mood has changed, because when you've got a spinal segment that's out of position, misaligned, or has been stuck and not moving, you lose this energy to the brain. But exercises like that too, movement of the spine will power your brain. Again, this relates to the importance of the upper cervical function. If you're in our office and you're under a corrective program, we're probably focusing largely on your neck. And one of the reasons is that the neural inputs, these hand crank inputs from the nerves in the neck are 50 times greater than anywhere else in your spine. So if you've got an abnormal alignment of your neck or malposition, if you've lost the curve, we need to restructure that curve in order to restore proper communication between your brain and body along your nervous system. And it's the upper cervical part of your spine that's most critical for that. And you can clearly see here what's happening to most people in their posture related to sitting over time. The guy on the left is a normal posture. Over time, as we sit at desks, our head slides forward. It puts crushing pressure on the spine. It turns down these neural inputs to the brain. Two simple strategies everyone can implement. We talked about two of them already, the joint-to-joint mobility and the foam rolling. I also add here safe squat exercises. So anyone who's over 40 in my office, I'm imploring you to squat every single day. We've got a variety of different ways that you can do that are safely. If you've had knee problems or hip problems, anyone can squat. We have patients who had double knee replacements that are squatting. We've got patients who have had hip replacements that are squatting. Squatting. There are strategies that anyone can implement to begin squatting and improve their squat. If you want to maintain your independence as you age, you're going to need to maintain strength in your lower limb and mobility in your lower limb. The number one strategy for that will be to do some squats every single day. So lift heavy would be the next most important thing. And I think particularly as we age and we get past the 40s or 50s, people stop having any interest in lifting heavy things because you begin to lose your strength. Well, you don't have to lose your strength. You saw that shirtless, grizzled guy who had the pecs and the six-pack abs. Clearly, that guy has not lost any of his strength. We need to maintain it by lifting heavy. Now, lifting heavy would be shorter duration, so 10 to 30 minutes. At higher intensity, you'll get better results. I would not use machines. I'd use things more like free weights or your body weight and mimic movements we see in sports and in life. So I think things like squats are great, push-ups are great, using dumbbells and doing arm curls are great. There's lots of great strategies to mimic your activities of daily life that you can implement as far as you're lifting heavy. And understand that lifting heavy is a relative term, right? Most of us are not going to be lifting what this guy is lifting ever in our lives. So some of us will need to have heavier weights in order to stress ourselves because we're bigger and stronger. And other people, just doing a push-up against the back of the couch or maybe doing a squat where you sit down on a chair and get back up, that might be heavy for you in the beginning. So lifting heavy is a relative term, and it doesn't mean for everyone that you got to go to the gym and pump iron. You've got to determine what is heavy for you. I can help you with that, and I'd love to, if you're interested, finding a level that's right for you. Why lift heavy? Well, it helps us develop and maintain our lean muscle mass. You can prevent muscle mass loss as you age by lifting heavy. It increases your metabolism, right? As you gain muscle and as you do the work to gain muscle, your metabolism goes up. Who doesn't want their metabolism to be higher? Helps you control your body weight. Lifting heavy will help you maintain low levels of body fat. Increase bone density. The single best strategy, women, please pay attention here if you're over 40 and concerned about your bone density. The absolute most important thing you could do to maintain your bone density is heavy lifting. You need to do strength training. It'll outperform any glass of milk or calcium supplement that you ever could consider. And in fact, you can be taking all sorts of calcium supplements, but if you're not lifting heavy things and doing strength training, that calcium is going to do virtually nothing for you. I can't stress this enough. Being strong and lifting heavy things helps you prevent injury, helps your hormone levels balance, helps you maintain proper blood sugar levels. We were designed to lift heavy things. Very, very important. So move fast. Another strategy we have to pay attention to. Got to get your heart rate up. You don't necessarily need to do sprints up and down steep hills, but you need to get your heart rate up. You need to be sweating. You need to be breathing at a rate where you can't really maintain a conversation. Now, that's going to be different for anyone depending on your state of fitness, but exercising at high intensity, moving quickly is critical for your cardiovascular health. And move slow, we talked about this a bit. These are all the general activities of daily living. So it could be playing with the kids in the pool or hanging out at the playground or pushing them around in the stroller. It could be chasing them through the park. It could be going shopping. It could be going for a walk through the neighborhood, shoveling your driveway, cutting the grass, cleaning the house. All those things are activity things that count for slow movement, and we should have lots and lots and lots of those. Here's what a schedule should look like in a basic week. So being mobile should be done every day. It's number one. It's the top priority. So if you're going to incorporate only one strategy from this webinar, work on mobility first thing when you get up in the morning, but you should do mobility work every single day for health and independence and injury prevention. Heavy lifting should be done 2 to 4 times a week. So if you're younger, you might do this 3 or 4 times a week. If you're sort of middle-aged, 40s and 50s up, lift heavy only twice a week. You need lots of time for the muscles to repair. Fast movement, that should be once or twice a week. You need recovery time in between your move fast, so 1 or 2 times per week. And your move slow, you want to have 3 to 5 hours or more. In fact, I think that should be way higher on a weekly basis. We should have a lot more than 5 hours, but you should have as a minimum 3 to 5 hours of move slow in every week in order to affect proper genetic expression within your body as far as your movement goes. So just in closing here, I want to say, please understand no one's coming to save you. No one else has responsibility for your health except for you. And if you don't take the bull by the horns and change your health, nobody else is going to. This is 100% your responsibility, including the level of health that you have right now. It is your doing, but you can completely change that. You have total control over changing the level of health you have right now just by changing your lifestyle habits. Thanks for listening. If you would like those videos, instructional videos emailed to you, please shoot me an email and I'll send them off to you. You can get the daily mobility video, the foam rolling video, and we'll get you working on those strategies to improve your health. Thanks for listening. Dr. Craig Dingman, Elevate Chiropractic. Have a great day.